my work relies on a kind of subconscious sort of dream logic. And the way I explain it, I always use the same example. It would be like this. This is dream logic in a nutshell. Oh, Sandy, yeah, I saw you this morning, and you were a Chihuahua. That's the logic of a dream.
Yeah, how many times have we said, it was you, but it wasn't you?
Yeah, it was my house, but it wasn't my house.
Exactly.
I was driving my
the
car, but
feeling,
it wasn't
yeah.
my car. It's like that is the way my entire way of constructing my world works. It's like it is this, but it's simultaneously something else.
The art of Fred Stonehouse is influenced by images from his past, images from his peers, images from his dreams, which he describes as, quote, messed up.
I definitely tap into my dream life, which is terrifying. I've always said I'm an artist who's driven by images. I've always found images really, really compelling.
Stonehouse's art is different. It's not for everyone. He says so himself.
You know, like any person, though, I'll look at things I make and I'll be like, oof, that's rough. I mean, not bad. It's interesting to me and maybe powerful, maybe even beautiful in its own weird way, but I'll think, this is not going to be for the average bear. I mean, that's true for pretty much almost everything I make.
His work is dark and mysterious, self-deprecating, heavily satirical, edgy.
I refuse to make a thing with no edge. In fact, that's when I'll get upset. If I look at a thing, I'm like, this has no edge, then I got to keep working on it. You know, honestly, this painting's been kind of bugging me. I'm going to work back into this. I think this guy needs a tongue. This guy's been on the wall for a while. And I've been looking at that wall. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that, but not that guy. He needs something coming out of his mouth. He's just too static. He's got no edge. And let's see if that even gives it enough of a shift. Now with this extra little appendage, his tongue sticking out of his mouth, just that subtle difference of it kind of coming out and down, now it's formally echoing the tears, and somehow it makes this good triangle with the ears. Again, just wanting it to have just that little bit of edge to it.
On this episode of The Arts Page, we explore the unabashed and surreal world of Fred Stonehouse. Stonehouse grew up on the northwest side of Milwaukee. His family was working class.
I was always painting. You know, I was always painting and drawing.
They played an integral role in shaping his artistic vision and eclectic personality.
Was there any creativity in your family?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad drew, my mom drew and wrote really awful poetry. My siblings, all except one, there were 5 of us, all of them had some creative, like, visual art ability, though nobody took it, like, seriously. You know, it was just a thing everybody loved to do. It was absolutely just for pleasure.
Even though he loved art, particularly painting and drawing, Stonehouse didn't see a future in it. Out of high school, he decided to go to trade school to become an auto mechanic.
My senior year in high school, I became part of the industrial cooperative education program where they send you out into the world for half the day. And it wasn't, I left school at noon, but I worked till 8 at night, and the job just sucked. I just thought, you know, I'd rather be painting.
After realizing that fixing cars wasn't the path for him, Stonehouse followed his passion and switched to art school. It was a decision that came with a catch.
I decided to lie to my parents. I couldn't bring myself to tell my parents that I was going to go to school for art. Somehow, coming from a working class family, it just seemed like such a completely irresponsible thing to do. I lied and I told them that I was studying architecture. But I was just so concerned that they would be, I don't know, embarrassed or try to pressure me out of it. I didn't want to hear the arguments against it. And I didn't tell them. I don't think they knew I was an art student until my 3rd year in art school.
Interesting that creativity was so accepted in your family, yet you had this huge, like you kept it from them for over 2 years.
They were not the kind of family that'd be like, that's great, you're doing something you love. It was like, if you don't do it really well, just don't even bother. So
I've seen your paintings. Yeah, I don't think you should go to art school, or you really need art school.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think it would have been just like, you're just going to fail in art school. You're good at fixing cars, just stick with that. So I was too deeply into it by the time I let them know. And then, of course, you know, 1 year out of school, I got my first show in Chicago, and, you know, it's just been rolling ever since.
That art show was a huge success, and it came time for Stonehouse to make a decision: leave Milwaukee for a bigger city with more opportunity, or stay and develop his skills and style here. He chose to stay.
The decision to stay in Milwaukee was really an important one for me. As a young man, of course, everybody at the time, and I think probably still to this day, is in a hurry to run off to Los Angeles, New York, Berlin, wherever. But I really thought that was required, that you had to go to a big city, you had to go someplace that had an art audience. Even though I knew that Milwaukee had its own art audience.
Milwaukee molded and shaped who he is. This is his home, and this is where he's comfortable.
For me, I require a certain amount of comfort. I need to be in a comfortable space to be creative. You know, I'm a fan of Milwaukee. It's home, it's where I'm comfortable, and it's where I can get work done. I'm gonna put this on the side. I'm gonna start on, I've been having this thought about making really simple just things on some of these kind of collage pieces of paper. Just dumb, simple things, but I had this thought that I wanted to make, I don't know, a milk jug.
For the last 20 years, Stonehouse has taught at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
I teach at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and I teach, it changes a little bit, but I mostly teach drawing and painting. I don't know if this is going to be more of a milk jug or like a liquor bottle. We'll see when I get to it. I used to joke and say, I don't teach anything. I just hang out with artists all day, which is true, but that's a type of teaching. I didn't start teaching until I was 46, so I had had many years, 26 years in the studio by myself. This is what happens after I get close to finishing a body of work. You're working a certain way, you just get restless to work a different way. And then when I came to teaching, it was such a gift to me to be able to like share all these things I had learned. Now I realize all the stuff I do organically that's really important to them that I didn't even think of as teaching.
For Stonehouse, we are all parts of a whole. Many things throughout our lives influence who we are. He realizes this, accepts it, and incorporates it into his art.
I'm the product of all the things I'm interested in and I love. I look at art a lot. I talk to my students about this a lot, that wanting to emulate another artist and are like really admiring another artist, when you have so much empathy for another artist's work, there's this recognition that happens when you see a thing that you love that much when you're an artist the way I am. And so you feel compelled to make your own version. Now, of course, you fail to make that thing. I am interested in form sometimes. It's sometimes the most sort of mundane form, can be sort of interesting just abstractly. Somewhere in that space between wanting to have made that thing and the thing you actually make is where you discover your own voice, I think. But you can be inspired by that thing, attempt to make that thing, and then your thing is informed by all of your own experiences and that covetousness, that love of that other thing. And then it just emerges as, hopefully, as your own unique vocabulary, your own voice. Like I said, I just had this thought that I wanted to do these kind of big, just simple, dumb forms. I don't even drink milk. Oh, smudged it. It's okay, that can be fixed.
Stonehouse doesn't like to classify his art into any one genre or any one style, such as surrealism or Baroque.
If I make a thing and I'm like, ooh, that's a good thing, that's the best I can do, because I have no way of knowing or predicting how anybody else is going to receive it. The thing I can know is how it affects me. And I think all artists are like that. You make your art for yourself.
I'm saying your expression,
Yeah.
and if people connect with or appreciate your expression, that's where the
That's
remuneration
great.
comes.
Right. That's a great benefit if that happens. And I've been very lucky, so, knock wood, it's been very easy for me because I've been lucky in all sorts of ways. I want to modify that a little bit because I do think that communication with an audience is part of the equation. You do want to have an audience. There's a few things that are essential to being an artist, I think. One is having the time and space to make the work. Then it's important to have sort of a support network, people who believe in you, and it could be other artists, your family, whoever. And maybe this last part is sometimes your community, sometimes not, an audience. But if you have those three things, you're good to go. There's a bunch of us at school years ago. We're at the bar, a bunch of painting faculty, and somehow this idea came up of ways, because we were talking about students and like paintings that are just shot, like what do you tell them how to fix it? So we actually came up with a list of like quick fixes for bad paintings. Of course, people were contributing all sorts of ideas like, oh, paint polka dots on it, put stripes on it, add rectangles, whatever. paint it green, whatever. People had all sorts, they were all preposterous. Everybody was drunk. And of course, one of mine was like, put a skull in the middle of it. And I found over the years that that is a dead sure way to fix any painting. Doesn't matter what else is going on. If you stick a skull in the middle of it, it's pretty much fixed.
Stonehouse lives his life according to his own principles. He has a strong set of unique values and morals.
I have always been prepared to suffer the consequences of my decisions. Like, for instance, I always used to joke and say, if the decision to be an artist means I end up having to live under a bridge, I'm prepared for that.
He values his independence.
I've never been good with authority. It's like the primary value for creative people is freedom. If you don't have that freedom when you're working, you're screwed.
And trusts his intuitions.
An old friend of mine just said, you know, Fred, as an artist, all you can do is you just run your flag up and you pray to God somebody salutes. I thought that's pretty much it. You just do your thing and then you hope for the best.
He doesn't care about the material things. He just loves art and wants to make the world a more interesting place.
What is this motivation? Where does it come from?
I care about being able to live a life that feels meaningful. And as an artist, there's only one way to do that, and that's being authentic, I think.
He's as authentic a person as they come. Thanks for watching The Arts Page. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories of art in our community.